Nonlinear relationships tend to be very complex. However, in business space, we can get away with having a good insight by describing four main types of nonlinear relationships. To describe these nonlinear relationships, we are going to focus on the form of the plots of these relationships. In other words, we will focus on the functional form of their relationships. In the first one, it begins to increase gradually and then rising is steeper. This relationship arises when calculating the customer lifetime value, for instance. The customer lifetime value is a function of the margin, the retention rate, and the discount rate. Here, you can see what the functional form of the customer lifetime value against the retention rate is. As you can see, it begins to increase gradually, but then the growth rate accelerates. One consequence of this is that most managers tend to spend more marketing dollars in retaining those customers that are about to churn. However, it is more profitable to invest in those customers who are more likely to stay because, well, the longer they stay, the more revenue they bring in. The second relationship that is commonly observed is decreasing gradually when dropping quickly. This relationship is commonly observed in mortgages. For instance, many property owners are surprised about how slowly their debt decreases in the early years of taking a loan. The third commonly observed relationship is climbing quickly, then tapering off. One case where this is observed is by looking at the per unit profit. A direct consequence of this is that at certain scales, increasing the volume of sales does not increase the profit per unit. In these cases, managers should focus on other aspects such as price. The fourth relationship that is often observed is falling sharply, then gradually. So you observe a slowdown in the rhythm of decay. This may lead to interesting constellations when dealing with loans. If you're trying to cut the length of two different loans by half, with one loan being for 2 years and the other for 4 years, you'll be surprised that the annual recurrent revenue in the first case would be 100% after cutting the payback period to the half. The 4-year loan, however, will see a much lower annual recurrent revenue, and top management would be interested in seeing a higher annual recurrent revenue. In the next video, we will look at how to limit the pitfalls with the bias introduced in nonlinear cases.